City of Daly City Virtual Planning Commission of July 5th, 2022. The current virtual planning commission meeting format has been undertaken by the City of Daly City. It is in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Planning Commission thanks the public for its participation in the virtual meeting format. It is our intention that the Commission receive any and all comments that you may wish to make for the land use proposals being considered tonight. If you would like to comment, please visit the website address that is on the screen and raise your hand during the public hearing portion of the item for which you wish to speak. Thank you. So, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Satori, absent. Pacheco?
Present.
Crum?
Present.
Proaño?
Present.
Illinois?
Present. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from May 3rd, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Minutes from May 3rd have been approved. So we'll go-
Elva,
yeah.
Elva, please speak closer. Somehow, is it just me? I'm not hearing her very
I
clear.
couldn't hear.
Very quiet.
I did,
Really?
yeah, very faint.
Okay, I'll try to talk loud. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better. It's better.
Is
It's
better?
better.
Okay. Sorry, I'm at work. So we'll go to the next, the first item on the agenda. It is zone change ZZ0421 014994 and design review DR0421 014995. It's a proposal to demolish a vacant retail building and construct a 7-story mixed-use building at 99 Southgate Avenue. Michael, would you like to present?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Villanueva. This is Mike Van Longhausen. I will be presenting the item for consideration by the Planning Commission tonight. It is a proposal for a mixed-use building at 99 Southgate, and I'm going to share my screen. It has that presentation. Can everybody see this presentation?
I can.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yes, this is a 214 unit mixed use building that's proposed by Kimco at 99 Southgate Avenue. It's the site of the old Burlington Coat Factory, for those of you who are wondering where that is. It's a request to amend the zoning, which is plan development zoning in that area, PD 60, and also grant design review for the appearance of the proposed mixed use building. As I'd indicated, the proposal is the demolition of the existing Burlington Coat Factory retail building and the construction of a 7-story mixed-use building consisting of 214 apartment units and 10,800 square feet of commercial retail space. The construction of a parking garage with approximately 319 total vehicle spaces and the provision of approximately 33,776 square feet of private and common open space and 10,000 square feet of indoor amenity space. I'm going to check for people that might want to come into the meeting real quick, if you don't mind. I want to make sure I don't have anybody coming in. I don't see anybody else. Okay. Sorry about that. The project entitlements include the certification of a mitigated negative declaration for the project, the modification of existing plan development PD 60A zoning to accommodate the project, which includes a 20% reduction of the parking requirement due to the mixed use nature of the project. The zoning ordinance allows a 20% reduction for mixed use projects, and this proposal just incorporates that provision that's allowed by the municipal code, as well as the approval of the building design, including vehicular and pedestrian circulation. Again, this is the site of the old Burlington Coat Factory building, the existing retailer there, Burlington Coat Factory, vacated the space a few years ago, actually I believe in 2019, due to some structural issues that were found in the building, and they are actually relocating closer, I believe, to Trader Joe's, more central in the shopping center. But that leaves this building vacant and sort of what to do with it kind of thing. And Kimco has proposed as obviously tearing it down and building this building. So this is the site location. Maybe the next slide's a little better for that. This is Southgate Avenue to the north, Palm Crest Drive to the east, and then Lake Merced Boulevard to the west. And then there's this sort of alley in between the existing building and the proposed building, between it and an adjacent apartment building. This is the subject site. This was actually remodeled probably about 10 years ago, I think. But again, found to have some issues, and so proposed to be torn down. These are just some slides of adjacent land uses. There's Home Depot to the north. There's an Arco station to the west, and apartments. And Westlake Apartments is probably the closest user, if you will. The Home Depot set back quite a ways, and so is the Safeway. So the closest approximate users are the Westlake Apartments. And there's Westlake Retail to the east. I think we're probably all familiar with these uses. Those of us who spend any time in Daly City. They're in, of course, Westlake Shopping Center. So this is the proposed site plan. So the building would be torn down and replaced essentially with a building that covers almost 100% of the site. So very similar to the building footprint that we see today. I believe the sidewalk is being widened with some pedestrian areas that are provided at the corners. The first floor plan, so vehicular access would occur via Lake Merced Boulevard. So ingress, vehicles coming into and leaving the site, ingress and egress would occur at Lake Merced. And a number of the parking spaces would be at this level. So this is at ground level, as would be for retail spaces and the leasing offices for the apartments above. And that's, if you can see my arrow, that's what's there. All of the diagonal parking spaces that, I believe all of the diagonal parking spaces that exist would be retained. Other there may be some ADA compliance that's happening, but a good number would be retained in Southgate Avenue. So the concept of having the diagonal parking would remain, as well as some of the parking spaces on Palm Crest. The second floor plan is more parking, again, in the on the second floor, and that's here. And we'll go over the parking ratio that's provided in the project. And then third floor plan, we start getting into residential units with the open space courtyards, which are actually quite nice. There are the architect has provided some renderings of what that might look like for the Planning Commission and Council to take note of in terms of quality. So these are interior courtyards that would serve the residents. And then these are, of course, the units in the sort of gray or the orange colored areas. There's also indoor amenity space, I believe, on this floor. Fourth floor plan, more apartments. Fifth and sixth floor plan, more apartments. And then the seventh floor, also apartments. I should have mentioned this is a 7-story building. I don't think I did do that. About 88 feet tall. And that's actually shown in these drawings. The height of the building is, again, approximately 88 feet tall at its tallest point. of note is that the adjacent apartment buildings are somewhat shorter. They're 3-story buildings. So this is a taller building in this area. Those were the east and north elevations and west and south elevations. So we could just spend a little time on the north elevation. The planning staff has worked closely with the applicants and their architect to try and provide a building that is aesthetically pleasing, given its size. We wanted to make sure that the mass is reduced and mitigated in some ways. We did work on the provision of a focal point at the corner of Lake Merced and Southgate, and that's what we have here, sort of with the slope roof, kind of a nod to Westlake single-family residential kind of slope roof, and then just kind of trying to give the building kind of a focal point. And the applicant has worked, again, city staff to provide that. I did want to make mention of that. Exterior balconies exist for some of the outward facing units. And here are some renderings that the architect has developed to show the Planning Commission and City Council what this building might look like if approved. And here's that focal point that I mentioned previously, just a different color, just a slightly different design. And the building does provide a good amount of articulation in terms of wall movement to reduce the scale and the mass of the building. Again, it is a 7-story building that's proposed next to 3- and 4-story buildings. So, quite a bit taller. And so that was a consideration that the staff and the applicant's architect worked toward, is reducing that mass. Here's an aerial view, same perspective, just higher in the air. This is the intersection of Lake Merced and Southgate here. Again, those interior courtyards are open to the sky, so providing hopefully sunlight to people using them, residents using them. We do sort of see the difference in the scale of buildings, though, and we don't want to look past that. This is a taller building in the area, and the staff report did identify that as it's no secret. Part of the reason why the city staff supports a building that is significantly taller is that we are in a very severe housing shortage in the Bay Area. So the city of Daly City in general supports housing construction, and especially when it comes to rental apartments. It's not often that we have new housing that comes along where it provides opportunities to people who rent housing, and this project definitely does that. It's actually not the first project the city has considered in Westlake Shopping Center. In fact, about 5 years ago, the city council approved a 6-story mixed-use building at 10 Park Plaza Drive, which is the building that's just north of the Ross and Sleep Train building. It's the one that contains the UPS store and Chipotle. There was a proposal to tear that down and rebuild it, and it did not get constructed. So this is a similar proposal in terms of its mixed-use nature and apartments. So I did want to highlight that, though, because this is not the first time that the Planning Commission and City Council have approved taller mixed-use buildings in Westlake Shopping Center. Here's the rendering of how the building might look from Palmcrest and Southgate, looking to the southwest. So again, high quality retail space. So fairly tall ceilings at the first floor, which is good. And then a good breaking up of the mass of the building and good use of color too. So we're overall very happy with how this building turned out in terms of architectural design. We do have some conditions of approval. We're always trying to get away from vinyl windows if we can. We added a condition of approval that we use high quality window framing. It doesn't necessarily need to be metal, but it needs to be at the same caliber as metal. And that's what we believe is actually drawn here. And so we do expect to see that in construction drawings. We've also want to have a well-developed sign plan for the retailers sometimes the buildings get designed and there's just providing signs to the tenants as an afterthought, and seemingly anyway. I don't know if the architect agrees with this, but sort of an afterthought in terms of accommodating these retailers that have different letter heights, and we do need to see a sign program at the time of building permit application too. So should the project get approved, we do have some conditions of approval related to that. So that's sort of the design review aspect of what the Planning Commission is looking at tonight. Oh, we have another rendering. This is Southgate and again, Lake Merced, I believe. The attractive building. The architect also provided some renderings of the courtyard areas. This is amenity space that meets the city's 1 space per 150 square foot, or I'm sorry, 150 square feet per unit, a standard for open space provision. And this project does that very well. There's a landscape plan that we'll take a look at in a few minutes. Just 1 second. Oh, my lights went back on. This project does that very well. Obviously, this is a high quality space that the tenants can use for hanging out and just lounging. And we do expect that this quality would be incorporated into construction drawings. That the plans, if approved, would be incorporated as conditions of approval. Here's another courtyard view from way up high, showing the quality of the outdoor space, as well as some of the balcony areas. So again, pretty nice interior courtyards. Here's that landscaping plan I mentioned, just to show the quality of the outdoor space. A lot of times in buildings like this, there is propensity to make outdoor space planning sort of a afterthought, and in this case that has not happened. Very good space planning and landscape architecture has gone into this project. So with regard to parking, because it does become a topic, of course, in an area like this where parking's actually, I personally go there quite a bit and I never really have a problem with parking, but of course we don't want that to change. So we want to make sure that the building provides all the parking that it needs to. Of course, the developers are always in a situation where they don't want to overpark because parking spaces cost money, and that just gets passed on to reduced profit as well as increased rents. So we're always looking for the right number of parking spaces. And this project would provide, just kind of cut to the chase, 319 parking spaces at a ratio of 1.5 spaces per unit. And so this is actually a fairly standard parking requirement. A lot of people who rent parking, and this is on average, so some people may only need 1 parking space, while some people need 2, or some people need 0, while some people need 3. So the parking analyses that go into apartment parking complex planning in the modern era account for different parking usage. And so the city staff thinks that the proposed parking ratio is fair and consistent with what we've approved in other projects in the past. And we don't believe that parking will be an issue in the project as proposed. That being said, we do have some on-street parking that can be used by guests. Yes, so I think I was right. There's the retention of existing 22 uncovered pull-in spaces on Southgate Avenue, as well as there's some other parking, I believe, on Palmcrest that would be retained as well. And in the modern era, we also require bicycle parking, and this project provides that in abundance with 100 parking spaces for the residents to use in the project. And I believe there's a number also that are provided out in front of the retail spaces, 10 or 15, I believe. So there would be ample parking and bicycle parking. This project is subject to the city's affordable housing ordinance, which requires that 10% of all rental dwelling units within the development be affordable to low-income households at 70% of AMI. The project has proposed and was obligated to provide 21 affordable units, and they have submitted an affordable housing plan to the city that says that they will do that, which will turn into an affordable housing agreement at the time of construction. And the mix of those units will be 2 studio units, 10 one-bedroom units, and 9 two-bedroom units. And it is important that we do note that the project does have a range of bedroom sizes. Larger families, which in the case of apartments, having 2-bedroom units is important, and especially at affordable units. So these aren't all just studios or 1 bedrooms. They do have 2 bedrooms, 2-bedroom units, and 2-bedroom affordable units. So that's something of note as well. The city, as it does with all projects of this size, goes to our environmental consultant, who is actually present tonight. If there's any questions about the environmental review, that consultant prepared an initial study and determined that a mitigated negative declaration was an appropriate environmental review for this project. This is the same level of environmental review that was completed for the 10 Westlake Center Drive project. City staff, of course, believes it's an appropriate environmental review level. And there was an initial study completed that identified some environmental impacts and also developed mitigations for those impacts. And those are all included in the Planning Commission staff report. There's a mitigation monitoring and reporting program that is also attached to the Planning Commission staff report. If there's any questions about that, of course, the staff and the environmental consultant can answer those questions. The staff is recommending that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council an adoption of the findings in the staff report, an affirmation of the environmental assessment, which is essentially recommending that the City Council adopt the ISMND, and the approval of the zone change and design review, subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report. If there's any questions, of course, the staff, environmental consultant, and the applicants are all here to answer those questions.
I would just like to make the comment that I really like the basic design of the buildings. One of the particular features I like is the openness of the building to the south, so it does not loom so much over the neighboring apartment buildings. However, I would like to add a condition of approval that the building use warmer, paler pastel colors that are in line with those of the shopping center, other commercial spaces, and the residential spaces around it.
Are we done?
I'm done.
I'm going to jump in. I was going to say, on my humble opinion, I love the colors. I love the blues. It's the sky. We hope to the ocean nearby. The beige, the wood tones are very warm. It's modern. And sorry, Rick, although I appreciate your opinion, personally on my end, I think it's beautiful. The other thing is, I was going to say was and I have my notes here. With regards to, you're closer to the ocean. I've seen many condos and apartments built and all the way into South City where things get rusty. Handrails, nails start popping. And I'm just curious, and with regards to the type of, are they coated? Is it for fog? Will this last? That's a question. I love the open space. I'm pretty sure public transportation goes by there, so that's easy access. So that's amazing. And I wanted to thank Kimco and whoever decided to do this, to not just pay and not have affordable housing units. I really appreciate that there's actually affordable housing, and a good number of apartments. And the only thing I was going to ask, will that stay? Like if someone moves in, then moves out, it won't switch over to regular, right? It's always going to be, those units are always going to be affordable housing. And I think,
Yes, that is true.
I think that's it. So yes, okay, good. You know what I mean? I mean, there's always
Yeah.
some way around it. But the biggest thing I think, personally, like I said, I love the warmth, the modern, the look. The only thing I would worry about is, anything to do with metal that the fog could actually do something to it. So that's it. That's my take. So thank you. It was a great presentation. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Just to jump in there, Teresa, I think there would need to require some kind of marine grade stainless steel, if that's part of their specifications in their project. We would probably ask for that. Can you hear me? And then,
In the past, we have had a condition of approval that we can add to this project that does require the provision of materials that are non-corrosive. And I don't remember what that condition exactly, how it's worded, but we can add that. It's a fairly minimal cost to the developer. We have noticed, sort of the sea air, some rusting, and so it just requires, that the balcony material, for example, is a non-corrosive material. Sometime baked on
powder coating.
acrylic onto balconies might be a good example of this situation.
My only comment is does the city require a specific percentage of street landscaping? Because I noticed that Southgate seems a little bare based on this rendering.
What happened, to answer your question, we can if we really wanted to. The sites in an open parking lot is supposed to provide, I believe, 2% landscape area. What happened in Southgate, though, is a long time ago. I don't know how long ago it was actually, but at some point in the past, we decided to provide diagonal parking. And what that diagonal parking did is it bit into the area that would normally be reserved for, something like landscape, a separated sidewalk or something like that. So if it was something that we would require, it would push the building back, and it would be probably on private property, or we'd have to request a right-of-way dedication. But it is, that's a great observation. There really isn't that much landscaping in front of the project. That being said, there really, not that it justifies it, but there's not any landscaping in front of the retail to the east either. So it is sort of a continuation of that. But it is a good observation.
Commissioner Pacheco, do you have any comments?
Well, I like it. I like the project. I like it because of the fact that it brings life to an area that is quite dull looking. You go through that area and it's just like, okay. But with this building going up there, it would really shine that street corner up. So I am for it. And I am also for, affordable housing in Daly City, and, whatever makes Daly City, better to improve on things like this. So I'm really for it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So I have a question. So does that mean when we have a condition of approval request, we need to set a motion?
Well, before we do that, I just wanted to make sure, don't we need to hear if anybody's called in?
Right. We need to open the public hearing.
Yeah,
If you could open
sorry.
the public hearing.
And then we also have applicants available if there's any specific questions for the applicant. I am not seeing anybody with their hands up at this time. Mike, can you double check that there's not anybody in the waiting room, please?
There is nobody in the waiting room.
Okay.
And I was checking intermittently.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any raised hands for anybody wishing to speak.
Okay, so then it would be, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion carries to close the public hearing. In regards to the condition of approval that was mentioned, is that we would have to vote on that? Or
Great,
Yeah,
so-
we can vote on that on the
Vote.
third motion. So
Right.
the next motion will be for the neg deck.
so after, okay, after the adopting the findings of outlined herein? Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the findings as outlined herein?
So moved.
Second.
Motion carried to adopt the findings as outlined here. And then
Don't we have to have a voice vote, Velva?
Vote.
a roll call?
No, a vote.
No, we do the roll call for the final vote, which is the approval, and that's
No,
when we'll
Velva is basically just say all in favor.
That's
Oh,
correct. Thank you.
Oh, all in favor, all in favor?
Aye.
And then that's when the condition of approval would come in.
Could we vote on that? Because
I don't
as
know
much
how
as
that-
I respect Rick, I'm not for
Through
it.
the chair, you still have item 2, the environmental assessment, approving the mitigated neg deck.
Oh,
We
okay.
have a roll call, just a voice vote on that, please.
The motion to adopt the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program prepared for the project. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then lastly, recommend, is there a motion to recommend approval for zone change CC 0421014994 and design review DR 421014995, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report of July 5th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call?
Jacob,
Aye.
Crum,
Aye.
Proaño,
Aye.
and Villanueva.
Aye. So I'm sorry, in regards to the conditions of approval, is that just something that is noted in the minutes?
May I ask, I mean, if we don't, I mean, there's one person asking for the color change and I'm not in agreement with the color change. So how do we do that?
We can make a notation in the staff report that there was discussion about the color palette. And then I believe there was also a recommended condition about having non-corrosive materials for
Okay. Okay.
the building accessories.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
And thank you to Kimco for providing us with such a good project. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
I like it.
I totally agree. It's beautiful.
Two thumbs up.
It's gorgeous. The space, everything. Well done. Well done. Thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, moving on to item number 2. This is a variance, variance 0622015750. The applicant Eduardo Umaje requests a parking variance to allow a 3-story, 3,698 square foot addition to an existing 3-story mixed-use building located at 6157 Mission Street. Michael, would you like to present?
Yes. For some reason, this in here. Sorry. Okay, can everyone see the variance staff report on this, or the
Yeah.
presentations? Okay, good. So thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This is a request for a variance at 6157 Mission Street. I pinged the applicants a number of times and they aren't here, but it might not be a big deal. This is a request for basically to add on to a building on Mission Street at the end of Wilson, in between Evergreen and I believe it's Crocker. So the applicant proposes to expand the existing ground floor grocery store. This is essentially a 3-story addition to an existing 3-story building. They're just pushing it back. And the applicant proposes to expand the existing ground floor grocery store from 1,071 square feet to 1,193 square feet. So at a parking ratio of 1 to 300, 1 space per 300 feet, there's 4 parking spaces that are required today and 4 that would be required in the expansion. So there's no net increase in the amount of parking that's provided. And as you're going to see in a minute, the site is completely covered with the building. It's an older building, and so providing parking is impossible for a number of reasons. The expansion would, on the 2nd and 3rd floors, they're basically apartment units, on one on the 2nd floor and another apartment unit on the 3rd floor. And what they're proposing is just to make those those apartments a little nicer by providing a family room for them. So they're existing 2-bedroom units, and they would remain 2-bedroom units. And so there are 4 parking spaces required in total for both of those, 2 per unit. So there's no increase in the amount of parking that's required for the expansion of the residential units on the 2nd and 3rd floors. So technically, which is the 3rd bullet, there are no additional parking spaces that are required, but because the zoning ordinance disallows structural alterations to non-conforming buildings, because this building is non-conforming to parking. It's conforming in every other way. It meets site coverage, which is 100% in this zone, and height and all that. But for parking, it's non-conforming. So there's a piece of the zoning ordinance that says you can't expand if there's making a structural alteration. And so therefore they need to apply for a variance. And this is a I just drew an outline around the building, so it's clear which one it is. The existing building's 3-story, and of note is that the city has if you'd like, I can show you an aerial, but we've allowed expansions to the buildings, or they were probably originally built at the same height, the same depth that this building's proposed. The 2 buildings to the left here. And so this building, though, cannot provide parking like these buildings because there is, among other things, a crosswalk in the way. This is a photo of the of Templeton Street behind it, just for some context of who's behind its residential houses. And I thought, maybe I didn't. There's a crosswalk here. I'm sorry, I meant to provide a better picture. There's an existing crosswalk here. So providing parking actually can't happen on this parcel. It would interfere with pedestrian improvement that's been incorporated into into Mission Street, and we're just not going to take that away. There's bus stops and whatnot around. And this project, and what qualifies it for a variance, is that it is transit proximate. Samtrans and Muni both operate in the area, as well as Daly City BART's a little bit of a walk away, but it's definitely possible. And so we do consider it to be transit proximate in addition to the fact that the city has parking lots that are available on Mission Street. I believe at Bepler and Mission. I think we have a map of that. This is the floor plans of the building showing the expansion. So this is the storage area. Again, the amount of area here would remain under 1,200 square feet, so no increase of parking. And then these are the floor plans of the apartments. So what they're proposing to do is basically add this family room here to each of the units. And they'd remain 2-bedroom units, as I indicated. And that's what these plans show. This is the proposed elevation of the improvement. We didn't include a design review on this. The applicant's paying enough for the variance. So the design review is completed at the staff level at the building permit plan check process. So there's no increase in parking demand And then there's the existence of the pedestrian crosswalk that makes the provision of parking, on the site, not possible, not, there's a typo there. And this is the map that shows the transit locations as well as city parking lots in the area. So we have transit stops here for Samtrans. There's another one down, there's actually a multimodal, or not multimodal, but a transfer transit stop here at John Daly and Mission. And then further up the street, it goes, we have Samtrans and Uni at the same location. So Mission Street is fairly well served by transit. We don't feel there's any issue with recommending and the Planning Commission and City Council approving a variance. And that's the whole point of this slide. Project is exempt from CEQA, and we are recommending, or I think we threw some of the findings that are in the staff report. I won't read these to you, but we do think there are findings for variance. We've outlined them in the staff report, and we are recommending that the Planning Commission forward the approval of the variance to the City Council with the recommendation for approval. If there's any questions, like I said, I don't think the applicants are here unless they joined and I didn't, or tried to join and I didn't notice. But we can answer any questions that the planning commissioners have.
Pardon me, through the chair, all I was going to confirm is they're adding how many feet to the back of the house or about to the building?
In total, it's about 1,200 square foot addition. Because there's 500 for the second and third floors, and then about 170 on the rear. The first floor existing footprint is bigger than the existing second and third floors. So that's the discrepancy.
Okay, and then what's left in the backyard? Does it have like a yard?
Oh yeah, they'd have a small yard. Yeah, there is plenty of room.
There's plenty of room. Okay. Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Crump or Commissioner Pacheco?
None at this time.
We'll open it to public hearing. Is there anyone on that? Oh, you're muted.
At this time, I don't see any raised hands for anyone wishing to speak.
There's no one in the waiting room.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Close the public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt the findings as outlined in the staff report of July 5th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried to adopt the findings. Is there a motion to affirm the environmental assessment?
Could you repeat?
Oh, is there a motion to affirm the environmental assessment?
We didn't do that already. I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second.
A motion to carry to affirm the environmental assessment. Is there a motion to recommend approval of variance 622-15750 as outlined in the staff report of July 5th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Pacheco,
Aye.
Crump,
Aye.
Proaño,
Aye.
and Villanueva.
Aye. Moving on to item 3. Another variance, variance 522-15692. The applicant Yan Ping Zhao requests a parking variance to allow the operation of a daycare center at 92 Hill Street.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. The applicant has requested a continuance of this item to a date certain. And that date is, which is I was just looking for, is September 6th Planning Commission meeting. And that is at your discretion. You can move it to October meeting if you want to, but that's what they're requesting.
Fine by me.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
I am as well.
I don't know if that needs motions or
Oh, I
anything.
don't know. Yeah, Kelly, does that need to be a motion to move?
Yeah, that would be a good idea to make a motion to continue.
So
the
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion to move variance 5221562 to September.
Yes, it would be September the
6th.
6th.
September 6th.
We do need to specify the date. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to do a roll call for that?
No, a voice vote is correct. That's correct. It's fine. Thank you.
I think that is it.
That is it.
It is.
It
Did
is.
everybody have a good 4th of July?
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
Are we going back into the physical meetings anytime soon? Just curious.
I am not sure of an exact date. I do know there was some talk about it starting in September, but I don't have formal word at this point. So it's coming soon.
Okay.
And I think the goal is to be able to support hybrid meetings where we can take public comment both remotely and in person. So I think part of it is getting the technology in place to accommodate that.
Oh, you're just being mean. You want to make sure that I have shaved and I'm not cheating sitting here.
No more sweatpants.
Yeah. And slippers. No.
Well,
Jammies. No.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting, today's meeting?
so moved.
Second.
I would ask if we could have seriously a moment of silence for all these mass shootings that have been happening all over.
Yeah.
And you know, before we started, I was watching the news and it was quite devastating to hear. So if we could take just a moment, like a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. So I guess we should go back to making a motion.
Oh, there was already a second. All in favor to adjourn the
Aye.
meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Velva.
Take
Thanks,
care, everybody.
Mike.
Great
Thanks,
job,
Sue.
Okay, have a
Velva.
good one now.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Good night,
Matt.
everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Bye.